oh, one of the groups is the statistics students, and one of the groups is like your typical college student. I always found that kind of doing it that way seems to help a little bit better. Um, but again, especially for me in this class, I just want you to try. I'm not gonna go through and sit there and be like, no, you got this wrong, you know. I might put notes off to the side, like if I see that it's clearly wrong, right, in what they're trying to say. Um, I might add something like maybe this, you know, maybe we want to mention sleep hours if that wasn't even in there. You know what I mean?
That's what I need for teachers. There's some teachers that don't even tell you, they just say it's wrong,
Right,
without telling you why it's wrong.
right.
And you need that clarification in order to learn from it.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. Yes. If you're just told it's wrong, nobody knows why,
Yeah.
right? You don't know what part you got wrong. Yes, 100%. And that's why if you take a picture of your work and send it in, I can see things along the way and write little notes off to the side, like, oh, this is what happened. Sometimes people mix up like the numbers, right? And so when we start doing step 3, I can see, okay, they had 535 up here, but down here in the formula, they wrote 553, right? And so I'm not going to mark it wrong, but I'll circle it and say, hey, right, you flipped this number right here. And this is why that didn't work out. You didn't get the same numbers. So I try and be as helpful along the way, but we'll see. Okay. I've talked way too much. Let's start our formula. We first need to get our formulas. I'm stalling because nowhere on here does it have the formulas that we're supposed to work. And so I want to do that mostly specifically for Cody, because I just thought of Cody on this. I'm going to write these little formulas over here, Cody, so we can see what it is that we're supposed to be doing. So we take the sum of the x's squared minus the sum of x squared divided by n, and then all of that is going to be over n minus 1. So we first have to calculate this formula so that we can get this formula. This is our standard error, okay? And then we need standard error so we can ultimately find our t. Our t is the sample mean minus the population mean. Oh my gosh, that looks weird. Divided by that standard error. Okay, so these are the 3 formulas that we need. I just want to draw some sort of separation line here because I don't want, I know it gets a little confusing. There we go. 3 different formulas. Okay. So, all right. So our estimated standard deviation. The 535 goes right here. Remember, the biggest number always goes first. And then your sum of x goes there. Oops, that looks really bad. We're going to divide that by 8. And then all of it is going to be over 8 minus 1. This house, all of that formula is within the house, okay, is within the square root. I'm going to kind of consolidate real quick. What I did right here, well, I don't know, that may not help you guys. Right here, 63 squared, you get a pretty big number. And if I remember, it's something like 3,900 or 3,000, let's see, 3,969. Okay. I'll just write it because I don't want to. 3,969. And that's going to be divided by 8 real quick, and then all of this will be over 8 minus 1. I am going to run out of room, but that's okay. So now 535, right? We just keep bringing this along. We don't do anything with it yet. That 3,969 divided by 8 will give us 496.13. And then all of that will be over, I went ahead and 8 minus 1 gets us 7. What's up?
Is it okay if I put 496.1 instead of adding the 3?
Yes, yes, I would really bet it will be. You keep yours if you want, if you've already done the formula, and then let's see how different it is. Okay, it probably will not be very different, Natalia.
Okay.
I got 5.55 right here. 535 minus 496. No, that doesn't make sense. Sorry, I'm already. I hate it. I hate it when I do stuff like that. I apologize. 38.87.
Yeah.
Divided by 7. And then we get the 5.55.
5.55. I got the 5 point. I did 5.56 because I think I rounded it.
Okay. That's okay. And then I got for my estimated standard deviation 2.36. What did you get?
Yeah.
So it still came out the same way?
Good. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And even if that was just a little bit different, I don't think in the grand scheme of things, Natalia, that would make much of a difference. Okay. So it's okay. All right. Susana, how'd we do on this?
That's what I got. It's because I had to redo it because I got the wrong number on the plus minus.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, okay, we don't have to worry about that right now. But all these numbers you got?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, good. That's the hard part. This is to me, this is the hard part. Okay,
well,
perfect.
it took me longer to try and think how to write the step 1 than to actually do.
Than doing this. Okay. All right. Well, okay, good. That's good. One thing I just want to remind everybody, people, when we're calculating this, sometimes forget to bring the house. Okay, they forget, they just drop the house somewhere along the way. That is our last step, right? Taking the square root. So don't forget to bring the house down. Okay.
I love it.
And that's cue your favorite dance music right there. Okay.
Bring the house
down. All right. So now, right, we've done this formula here. We need to do our our standard error. So we take the 2.36 that we just calculated, divided by the square root of our n. We get 2.36, and the square root of n, I got 2.83. Those divided will give you 0.83. Does that make sense? I guess so. That's what I have written down. 0.83. And so now we're ready to do our t-test. I erased it, but this was 7.88. Oops. It's getting old. 7.88 was our sample mean. Oops. Having problems here. Our population mean was 7, right? That was told to us that the average was 7 hours of sleep. So the population mean goes right there. And all of this is divided by our standard error, which we just calculated to be 0.83. Okay, right up here, right? Sample mean minus the population mean divided by standard error. So for this one, I get 0.88 divided by 0.83. And that gives us a t-value of 1.06.
Yes, ma'am. Yay.
Yeah,
That's what I
woohoo!
got.
I did everything by myself. I feel so proud. I wish physics was this easy.
I know, I know. Susana, did you get that T also?
Yes, I did.
Yay! Okay, yay! See, we can do math, and yes, I'm with you. I wish physics was this easy also. Yeah. See, I told you, and I think I remember saying this, that at the beginning of the semester, I would make you guys love statistics. And I think now I've proven that it's not as hard as they make it seem. Okay, step 4 is decision time. Oh my God, I'm not even, I can't even write it. Step 4 is decision time. This is where we either reject or fail to reject. I'm going to draw our distribution here that's based on a degrees of freedom of 7. It would look like this, right? And we need to take our t-value and figure out where it's going to be, okay?
So it's inside, actually.
It is inside, that's right? It'd probably be somewhere maybe right around here, right? 106. That kind of looks like a 106 right there. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We know it's inside, right? It's inside because it is not bigger than 2.365 this way. And it is not a negative number, and it does not exceed negative 2.365 that way, right? It's in here somewhere. And so what happens when our t is inside of the critical values? What do?
We fail it. We fail to accept.
That's right, right? We fail to reject. Or you can say, I accept. I don't really like that term, but you can say that. I accept the HO. I accept the null hypothesis, okay? If you wrote it like this on the test, exactly, right? If you had this all like this, you're going to need some of these numbers and stuff, right? So it's fine. Scribble, scrabble, wherever you want, okay? This right here is our points here. You get points here for writing your critical values. You get points for step 3. And then you get points for this, okay? Even if all your numbers came out wrong and you just happened to write fail to reject and it was right, I'll give you points for that, okay? You and I will know it was just a guess, but if it ended up being okay, that's fine. I still will give you points, okay? If you start plugging, say, remember I gave the example, you put 553 and you started using 553 all along the way, and you had one number here and then it was a different number and then you still use that same number over here, I will still, I'll make a note of it, right? I'll let you know what happened, but I'll still give you points because to me that's you just made a little transcribing error. You still understood how the formula was supposed to go, okay? You were still working the formulas correctly. All right, fail to reject. So now this is where we want to write a conclusion, okay? I'm going to force you guys to do this because this is the hard part, Susana, right? This is the hard part, and this is
Yes.
what ultimately we want you to be able to do. We want you to be able to say what happened. So if you're having to accept the null hypothesis, then you go back and you pretty much just go along with what it said. There is no difference, okay? So writing the hypotheses help us when it comes time that we have to write our conclusion, okay? So I wrote that there's no significant difference in the amount of sleep that STAT students get compared to other students, okay? So you could say there is not a significant and this, remember, this is just how you guys, oh, look at that. I can go off the page. Oh, well, never mind. I thought I could go off the page. There's not a significant difference in sleep, I don't know, for STAT students. Whatever you want to say. There's a million different ways to say it, okay?
The sample mean is the 7 hours?
0.88.
Oh, 7.8.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the sample mean. And then the population mean is 7.
That's right. Because up here, right, this totaled 63 and n was equal to 8. And 63 divided by 8 will get you 7.88. Remember, the mean is equal to the sum of x divided by n. Any questions?
So,
Yeah.
so can I say like, because well, I said since our t-value of 1.06 does not exceed the critical value of 2.365, we fail to reject the null hypothesis because it means that there is not a significant difference between the sample mean of, what was the sample mean again? The
7.88.
between the 7.88 and the population mean
Of 7. That's beautiful. That's perfect. That's like ready to put in a paper. You don't even need to edit that. Yes, that's perfect. Exactly. Okay. And that was a very detailed and very technical conclusion, right? And that's perfect. Okay. For anyone who doesn't write like that, it's perfectly okay to write, you know, a very simple statement that your mother, not that your mother is simple or anything along those lines, but your mother or your grandmother or your friend would be able to understand. Natalia's statement, I could kind of see it in the results section of a paper. And then, right?
That's an over exaggeration.
I don't think so. It was very technical, you know, and then my statement would be in the discussion part where they're just kind of like putting it into layman's terms. Okay. Both are correct. You can do either one. I'm going to show you something. If you guys want to learn how to write your conclusion in scientific notation. So we put our T because that's the test that we did. Oh my gosh, I'm having. You always put the degrees of freedom in parentheses. You put what your t-value was equal to, comma, and then you state this statement right here. The p was less than, no. The p was greater than 0.05. So this is writing it in scientific notation, when you guys read through your articles, if you read through the abstract, at the end of the abstract, it'll have statements like this. It'll have scientific notation, a bunch of numbers. Now, this is how you can read it really quick, and you can see whether their study, whether they found significant results or not. So you don't even have to read through the whole paper, right? The abstract will tell you, and then this will tell you whether their study came out significant or not. Okay, and this is what they're doing. So they're telling you what test they did. Okay, usually you probably won't see a t-test in the scholarly articles that you're reading. They're going to do like ANOVA, and that would be an F. Okay, but they, you know, so you put the test that you did. We did a t-test. You put the degrees of freedom here, and what this allows anybody to do is now to go back and look in the table, and they can immediately find 2.36. Okay, they would know this. They could look that up. The 1.06 we can look at, and we know 1.06 does not exceed 2.365. Okay, this part, the P greater than 0.05. The probability of finding this result was greater than 0.05, meaning it was in here. The probability of finding a result in here, remember, is greater than 0.05, or if we want to think of it this way, it's greater than that 5%. Beyond the critical values is the extreme 5%. If we had gotten a significant result where we got to reject the null hypothesis, let's just say we're making believe right here. Oops, P at that point would be less than 0.05. If your t-value exceeds the critical value and you're over here in the rejection region, you get a significant result. But more importantly, right, the probability of finding that result was less than 5%. That's where that 0.05 and all that comes from. Okay, so this one, oops, is when you fail to reject. And this is when you get to reject it, it would be P is less than 0.05. It's a little bit beyond. You don't have to know this. I will constantly from here on out write this like this, so you start to get real used to it. Okay, and you start to being, you know, to be able to identify that. This is just kind of higher level statistics there, being able to write it in scientific notation. Okay, so don't stress about that right now. I'm just showing you that, how we would write that in not scientific notation, well, maybe symbolic notation. Yay. I don't know if that's yay or not. So any questions?
No, actually.
No?
Wait, what does it actually mean in regards, since there's no significant difference? Does it mean that students are getting
that's right,
value of sleep?
They're getting about the same amount of sleep as typical college students. So this girl doing, or whoever did this study, it didn't work out in her favor. I don't know what she was trying to prove. I don't know if she thought statistics students are not typical college students. I don't know. But this did not work out the way maybe this researcher had hoped. And that is okay, right? That is okay. It is okay, and it is just as informative to find non-significant results as it is to find significant results. There's nothing wrong with this, right? Little kids in science fairs, they always want to say, my hypothesis was right. They always want to say they're right. And we need to get away from that. We need to get away from that. This isn't right or wrong. It just is. So what we found is that statistics students get the same amount of sleep as college students, or your typical average college student. So that's it, Natalia. There's just nothing. And now, if this person wanted to go on and find more students, wants to adjust their research a little bit, maybe try and figure out why there was no significant result. Maybe they didn't have enough students. Maybe they needed to include all science majors. I don't know, right? So yeah, this just kind of tells you, for whatever reason, what you looked at is not any different than the population. So yeah, that's it. She might get a little sad and that her study didn't turn out the way she wanted it to, but it definitely gives you future research, right?
So are you going to incorporate one of these in our exam, or you just want us to do this one and submit it?
Well, I do want you to do this, and then I am going to have one of these, Cody, on the test. How do you feel about it?
I feel like hopefully there's 34 other questions I can get right.
Yeah, there probably will be. But you don't feel good about this?
No, I do. I mean, I guess if I just plug the same numbers in and follow my notes, I should be all right.
Right?
I was just curious how you're going to put that on an exam through Blackboard.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I don't know. I thought about that this morning, and I don't know if I just leave it where it's like a short answer and you type it in, but how are you going to type that in? Right? I mean, we can't do all these formulas. I don't know, Cody. I don't know what to do.
I think you should just give us 34 multiple choice and call it a day. Because I'm going out of town this weekend, so I'm not trying to work too hard this week.
Oh, you are? You're going out of town for funsies?
My dad's birthday is on Sunday, so yeah, I'm going up to Lubbock on Friday afternoon.
Oh, that's fun.
So I'm going to have to do your exam before 2 in the afternoon when I plan on taking off.
Okay. Well, okay.
So, but no, it's all good. I mean, it does make sense. If you put one on there, I should be able to follow my notes and do the exact same thing, just with different numbers.
Yeah. I mean, I could put one on there, and then the questions are still multiple choice. And I have options like the sum of X is 63 and all these other options, the critical values, and I give you several different options. So it's still multiple choice, but you have to calculate them. What do you think about that? Cody's not happy about that.
Yeah, kind of ambivalent there.
Can you specify on what we should study from like what topics we should?
Natalia, I can't because I don't even know what was on the last test. I'm going to do that right now. Okay. I will do that right now. I'll open it up and I'll look at what the last test was. And I will start coming up with that information. And I promise you, I will send something, I'll put it in the announcements, and I'll put, these are things that the test is going to cover. Will that help?
Absolutely.
Yes, yeah. Okay. And then Cody, I know it makes you sad, but I have to have you be able to kind of do this, okay? And so maybe the multiple
We-
choice.
We just submit the one we've already done and you give us all a good grade.
I like where your head's at, but I don't feel like that is pushing you guys because we just did it. We just did it. Everybody can do it when I do it. Thank you, Natalia. I'll see. Okay, I'll see. I'm going to take it into consideration. Cody, okay?
Sounds good.
Okay.
I gotta go get ready for work. So I
Yeah.
hope you guys enjoy the rest of y'all's day.
You too, and be safe on your trip.
I'm sure I'll watch the remainder of your videos between now and Friday for
Okay. Okay,
this
good.
one. And if you post one tomorrow and I'm not in it, I'll watch
Okay.
that one as well. So
Okay. Yeah, no worries.
y'all have a
no
great
worries.
day, guys.
All right,
You
you too, Cody. Does anybody else have any questions or comments or concerns? I promise you I'll do that right now, Natalia, or everybody. I'll put in the
So the sample, okay, the for the mean, the population mean, how do we know which one out of those two was it? Like, for example, in a problem, how do you know which one is the population mean?
it
Yeah.
will no, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. In the problem, it will tell you.
Okay.
In the sample, you have to find it.
Oh yeah, no, I know, but
Okay.
it's
Yeah,
mean-
in here, it'll say like the average number of hours a typical student, right? It's going to say something like that. Okay.
okay.
I promise you, I won't, I'll try, I won't, I'll just say I won't have like I won't have more than 2 numbers. This one has the 4 steps of hypothesis, but this one is one number. It has to do with the population, and this one is telling you how many students. I don't technically, this one was even wrong, right? You don't have to have this in here. You could just count how many people were in the study by how many X's you have. Okay, but there's only going to be like 2 numbers in the problem. Okay,
Okay.
and one, it'll say something like the national average, or it might even say the population average is this.
Okay, population average. Got it.
Yes, it'll have something like that. Okay, the
Okay. No, I just wanted to make sure, just so I can know.
okay. Okay. Any other questions?
On step 4,
Uh-huh.
other than stating that you failed to reject, what other information has to be in that?
Yeah, good question. Really, you can just write fail to reject. You don't have to. So if you just wrote fail to reject, I would be okay with that. I would give you credit for it. I would like to see some sort of attempt at a conclusion, okay? I won't take off for it, for not being there, and I won't mark it wrong if it's not right. But I would just like to try and push you guys to write some sort of a conclusion, okay? In the future, on our other ones, I will start making you write these, okay? But this is our first time, so I'm not going to demand it, okay? But I would like you to try. You don't have to do this. I just do this visually so we can see why we are failing to reject, okay? This, you don't have to write this. This is just, if you wanted to, you could, but you don't have to, okay? So absolutely. And then
Okay,
all of this other stuff is extra.
Okay, yes, because I just wanted to understand like what other, because you put that you failed to reject it, right? And then the reason why it's due to the, is it called the t-value or the t-test?
Uh-huh. I mean, if you said either way, technically it's the t-value, but yeah.
Okay.
Or we
And
perform-
it's due to the t-value not exceeding the critical value, right?
That's exactly right.
That's the reason?
That's-
Okay, yeah. And then do you mention anything about the 7 hours or?
It's
The 7
only
hours
if-
would be the average, the population would be the number of X's? Is that correct?
the population is just all college students.
All
That's the
college students.
right? This is the sample over
Okay.
here. The 8 is the sample. But you could put that. I mean, you could. It's however. And I know that's hard for you because you don't like this part, and you probably don't like me telling you you can do
No,
whatever.
I'm just trying to see how to word it, kind of, I guess.
Yeah, no, I know. You could say that we found that sleep for the sample was not different than the average of 7 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, there's so many ways to say it, I guess.
Because so far what I wrote is the difference in sleep patterns from statistics students compared to the average students does not have significant difference due to the t-value not exceeding the critical value. We failed to reject the null hypothesis.
Yeah, that's perfect. That is
Okay.
honestly perfect. So, yes.
I just wasn't sure if we had to add anything about the population or like the 7 hours.
Yeah, I mean,
Of sleep.
you don't have to. If you want to, you can. And again, this is why I was telling Natalia, and I'll say it for yours too. That one is definitely like a very technical results part of what you found. There's if you've looked in articles like that, there's a results section and then there's a conclusion section. The results section is like what you said, right? Is exactly what you said. It's very technical. The conclusion part is more it's just more informal. You can just say it like you were telling a friend what you found. Either one is acceptable. Either one is correct. Okay. So yeah, both of them are perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. See, don't doubt yourself. That's exactly right. Okay.
Got it.
Any other questions?
No, well, not on my part.
Not on your part. Okay. Natalia? No. And then I don't know if it's Keila or Antonio, if they have any questions or not. So, all right. Well, okay, guys, I'm going to go look at the test, okay, from last test so I can figure out what in the world needs to be on this test. And then I'll start writing something up for you guys, okay, on what exactly I want you guys to study, okay?
That's perfect.
Sounds good. Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you guys. Have a good day. Good luck, Natalia.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Okay, bye.
Payments bias.
Yeah,
So I turned mine in on Friday, but I used
Yeah.
the wrong DF and the wrong N. Could I do it again and turn it in?
oh,
Or-
sure.
Yeah.
Did you turn it in on email or on the,
Yeah, through email.
oh, here it is. Look, see, I clicked it and that's not, I mean, I won't open it for everybody to see, but you know what, Antonio, the fact that you already recognize that that's what you did the wrong in and the wrong DF.
Yes.
Oh, so the in would come out a little bit different, right? Definitely cause the whole thing to be a little bit different. But to me, I mean, I won't mark it wrong. You know what I mean? I'll just put it that you did it correctly, like give you credit that it was completed, if that makes sense, rather than making you go through the whole thing unless you just really want to go through the whole thing again.
Yeah, because I mean, in the end, I also got that I had to accept the null hypotheses and stuff.
Okay, we did that too, but yeah, I can definitely see that your numbers would come out completely different.
Yeah.
So if you want to do it, what I was trying to say is that I would just grade it for completed. Like that's probably what I'm just going to do for everybody.
Mhm.
So everybody who turns it in gets 100. If they don't turn it in, they're getting a 0. So I wouldn't mark it wrong, but if you just want